Hello. Do you ever sit down to write in your journal? You have a new journal, you have a piece of paper and a pen, but you really just don't know what you're going to write. Or maybe you're worried about that someone will see what you've written. So I've got, in this video, I'm going to talk about the elements of more about how we write in our journal rather than what we're going to write. The expressive writing, I discovered this 18 years ago, and I found out that I naturally did what they found in science that you needed to do. So there's a couple of rules. There's three main rules, and other than that, there's no rules. So if you follow these three main guidelines, you will experience release. And I know this because I've seen it with hundreds of people in my workshops, and I've also experienced this myself. So the first rule is that you need to write down deeply. So when you start to write, you're going to be exploring everything that's going on in your mind, all of your feelings, all of the thoughts, anything that comes into your mind. You're going to be putting this down on the page, okay? So this is really important to go deeply because Dr. Pennybaker, he was one of the psychologists that did the early research. He talks about how they studied people that wrote in a shallow way and also people who wrote in a deeper way. So the people who wrote in a shallow way, they didn't experience the benefits of expressive writing. So your journal is your place to be safe, okay? So think of it like a sacred place, a safe space for you to be able to express your feelings. And so this is rule number one. So write deeply, okay? That's really important. The second rule that we have is to write confidentially. Obviously, so they also found that this was a key element for expressive writing to allow you to experience release. So this is where you're not writing for an audience. You make sure you keep your journal safe so you don't show anything in your journal to other people. Sometimes people will write their experience down and then later they might rewrite it into a poem or something like that. That's different from the actual process of expressive writing where you just simply get your words and your emotions down. The third element is to write expressively. So this is where you're ignoring grammar, spelling, or sentence structure, okay? So you don't need to be a writer. You don't need to be really talented at writing or anything like that. This is simply about expressing your emotions onto the page. And so in my workshops, I've had people who've just told me that they could only use swear words. So that's completely fine. Whatever words that you need to use. Sometimes they've also tested people who were illiterate and they didn't have many words, and they tested this person who was in hospital and he only used one word and he also experienced this release. So it's not about how many words, it's not about making it poetic or beautiful as a writer would do. It's about just getting your emotions down and expressing how you're feeling. And often what we find is that we start to talk to ourselves, that we start to discover things about ourselves in this process. So what they've found is that the reason that expressive writing releases you is because it crosses both sides of our brain. And not only that, they've studied, when we write things down, they studied the brain, and you are releasing the emotions from the emotional side of the brain, and you're able to access your cognitive brain. And that way you're actually able to think of strategies, you're able to be more regulated in conflict. It's just amazing the benefits of that. So, and I've used this when I'm in conflict or when I have complex emotions about something. And I know I've seen my students do this also in workshops and when they've been able to access empathy for other people. Think of your mind like a crowded room. You have so many thoughts and emotions and worries in there, and sometimes you've got to open up the window to let out these emotions, okay? Also, we can think of, so sometimes people say, oh, well, I can just forget about this and it'll be okay. I don't need to get rid of it. I'm just going to forget it. It's going to be long gone, forgotten. And the reality is you can't forget things. So your unconscious stores them in the back of your brain so that it can keep you safe. And it will keep these there so that every now and then it's going to remind you of what's happened to you. But the other thing is we live our conscious life through this filter. And the thing is, sometimes we don't even consciously know that we're living that way, but that's the reality. So it's like when people say to me, I can leave it in the past, I sometimes give the analogy that if you had a whole garage full of stuff and it's jam-packed with boxes and things from your past, and if you said to me, oh, yeah, I've forgotten about that, and because I've forgotten about it, it's gone away. No one would think that you are rational. It's not possible. So you have to go into that garage and go through each box and get rid of what needs to go. You have to sort out your life. It's the same with your mind. You need to be sorting these things out, okay? Yes, once you've done this sorting out, then you're able to breathe again. And expressive writing works, I use it on a daily basis as well. So I discovered it 18 years ago when I went through a traumatic experience. And then after I'd written it down, it completely disappeared. And following that, I did research and found all of the benefits that they have discovered in psychology, with more than 2,000 studies that have shown this. Okay, so I'm going to take you through an exercise. And I want you to just let yourself go, let your mind and your emotions go down on the page. So the prompt is, what I'm not saying out loud is. Okay, so write that down and then write down whatever comes to you, okay? You can pause this video for time to just get these emotions out. Spend 5 minutes doing that. So after you've done this, how do you feel? Sometimes you might feel a little bit tired and a little bit drained once you've got some emotions out. But later on you will feel better. So I often say that it's like when you go to the gym and at first you feel really like tired and overwhelmed. And then once, later on you feel really good. So it's similar to that. So once you start using expressive writing in your journal, it's just, all you need to do is to be asking yourself every day how you're feeling and then just exploring that. But if you really want to go deeper, I have a full course where you can explore different ways and different methods of how you can do expressive writing in your journal. So I go through metaphors, poetry, journaling, free writing, expressive writing, reflective writing. So just different methods, different prompts, and it's a very practical course and people have really loved it. In there's personal guidance from me, and I'm always really happy to also receive your comments in the course and to respond to your experience in the course as well. So also, if you would like to know more about expressive writing, I'm always posting videos on here, so subscribe to my channel. If you got something out of this video, it'd be great if you could give it a like and a comment. I'd love to hear from you. So thanks for listening and take care.